The government today has announced of slashing the budget by 244 billion rupees. In the face of low revenue collection and high spending, the government had no option other than slashing a massive chunk of the current budget. The volume of revenue collection in terms of budget size has been deemed lowest in the past several decades, while the revenue collection has gone down by 15% in comparison to the same time last year. Good evening, I'm Abhyuday Shrestha and these are the headlines of the hour. The government slashes the current budget by 244 billion rupees, commits no lack of budget for fertilizer procurement and national pride projects. The high-level political mechanism discusses presidential election and cabinet expansion. 4 of the ruling partners remain adamant with their stand. Officials in Turkey issue 113 arrest warrants in connection with the construction of buildings that collapsed on the Monday earthquake. Death toll climbs to over 33,000. And para taekwondo, which has done the country proud with international medals, is crisis-ridden due to lack of upgrading of standard. Government apathy comes to the fore. The government has downsized the current budget by 244 billion rupees by presenting a midterm review report. Finance Minister Bishnu Paudel presented the midterm review report in the House of Representatives today and informed that the budget for the current fiscal year has been downsized by 244 billion rupees. The government decided to slash the shape of the budget after not being able to receive expected amounts in revenue collection, external loan and grant due to factors including the Russia-Ukraine war, global recession, among others. However, the government has not decreased the amount in the internal loan it collects. The budget of 1.793 trillion rupees, which was brought by then Finance Minister Janardhan Sharma on 29th of May last year, has been slashed by 244 billion rupees to 1.549 trillion rupees, which is 14% less than the previously announced volume. In the meantime, Finance Minister Paudel told the House that the targeted economic growth rate of 8% cannot be achieved due to the slack financial activities. Minister Paudel also informed that the government target of not letting the inflation rate go above 7% would now be a challenge for the government. The government's revenue collection has been the lowest since the fiscal year 2024-25. Until mid-January last month, the government had collected a revenue of 490 billion rupees, whereas the target was 651 billion rupees. The government has now reduced the target of annual revenue collection to 1.244 trillion rupees, down by 11.29%. Revenue collection has been 24.8% lower than the target and 15% less than the same period last year. The spending target of 1.183 trillion rupees, which includes salaries, social security allowances, has been slashed by 162 billion rupees. Likewise, the development expenditure has been reduced to 313 billion rupees, down by 67 billion rupees. Meanwhile, the government has committed to no lack of budget for fertilizer procurement and national pride projects. Finance Minister Bishnu Paudel presented the midterm review report in the House of Representatives today, as the government has to do so in 6 months from budget announcement as per the Fiscal Procedures and Financial Accountability Act. A meeting of the high-level political mechanism formed to support the government has decided to make the 7-party alliance what it said more formidable. However, the meeting this morning at the Prime Minister's official residence in Balwatar could not make any concrete decisions. At a time when various speculations have been made regarding the future of the government, the meeting at Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal's official residence in Balwatar decided to give full support to the government. The high-level political mechanism has tried to quell the disputes that have emerged in the 7-party alliance. However, all the ruling partners have not been attending the high-level meeting, giving ways to speculations that all is not well with the ruling parties. Emerging out of the meeting, Rashtriya Prajatantra Party President Rajendra Lingden said that the meeting dwelt on reaching all decisions on consensus. Lyngden also claimed that there was no dispute in the party regarding the presidential election and candidate. The meeting today also discussed the Chitwan Constituency 2 by-election, cabinet expansion, and the review of the government. Nagarik Unmukti Party, Janmat Party, and Janata Samajwadi Party abstained today's meeting as well. The Election Commission has announced by-election in Chitwan Constituency number 2 on 23rd of April in just under 2 months' time. The Election Commission has said that the by-election in Chitwan Constituency 2 has been announced as per Clause 68 of the House of Representatives Election Act 2074. The Chitwan Constituency 2 was vacant after the Supreme Court scrapped the election of Rabi Lamichhane from this constituency as per Clause 13 of the House of Representatives Election Act 2074. The Election Commission will also hold a month-and-a-half-long voters updating program in Chitwan Constituency 2. The Commission has said that the nominations of candidates will be held on 3rd of April. The final list of candidates will be released on 6th of April, and the election symbols will be handed the same day. It's been over a month that the session of the House of Representatives has started, since the previous parliament could not operate smoothly as a number of bills remained stranded. The old bills could also get fast-tracked. However, due to the government apathy, the parliament has remained without business. The House session that started from 9th of January has already held the floor test of the Prime Minister and the election of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker. So far, the House proceedings has seen 9 meetings, while not a single bill has been moved forward. A bill to amend the Anti-Money Laundering and Environment Promotion Act has been registered at the Parliament Secretariat. Likewise, 3 bills are going to be tabled at the National Assembly. However, bills on Citizenship Amendment Act, Civil Service Act, among others, have not been moved. Even as some ministries have said that they are poised to proceed with some bills, it has not been done yet. Lawmakers of the ruling parties believe that the parliament will only become effective once the election of the president and the vice president are held. Some other lawmakers have said that it is now high time that the parliament is provided with some business. The present parliament has the responsibility of dealing with some of the significant bills which could not be settled last time around. The Nepal Medical Association has called off its protest programs after reaching a 6-point agreement with the government. The agreement was reached between the talk teams formed by the government and the Nepal Medical Association. The Nepal Medical Association had decided to halt all services except emergency services at hospitals throughout the country today, demanding to punish the police personnel who had assaulted Trauma Center's doctor in front of Bir Hospital while President Vidya Devi Bhandari was being escorted to the federal parliament on Friday. The government's talk team was led by Secretary at the Office of the Prime Minister Ganesh Pandey, while the Nepal Medical Association team was led by Association President Dr. Lochan Karki. Both the sides agreed to punish the guilty as the police personnel who had assaulted the doctor was already suspended and an investigation into the incident had already started. Association President Dr. Karki informed that the government has agreed to bear the medical expenses of the injured doctor, and the association would turn in a suggestion to the government within a week regarding the VIP security management work procedure. An agreement was also reached to effectively manage the security of health workers and health institutions as per the Act regarding the security of health workers and health institutions. In our Public Voice segment today, we have asked people in several provinces what their take is on the trend of halting services at health institutions among other institutions providing essential services. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
बन्द हडतालले चाहिँ असर पारेको हुन्छ यसले चाहिँ जनजीवनमा एकदमै प्रभावित पार्छ
विभिन्न बहानामा बन्द हडताल गरिन्छ त्यसले चाहिँ जनताले एकदमै दुःख पाइरहेका छन्
सम्बन्धित सरकारी निकायमा गएर छलफल गरेर यो समस्याको समाधान निकाल्नु पर्थ्यो
लापरवाही नै हो
अरु तरिकाले विरोध गर्न सकिन्छ
एकदम सरकारको गल्ती हो
समस्याहरु नै छन् भने या त सम्बन्धित निकायले सुनिदिनु पर्यो त्यो बन्द गर्ने स्थिति नै आउन नदिनु पर्यो
आज आमालाई उपचार गर्न लानु पर्ने त्यो लान पाइएन
समयमै उपचार नपाउनाले चाहिँ धेरै मानिसहरुको ज्यान जान सक्ने हुन्छ
Welcome back. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
But before that, let's take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday, we had asked you, what could be the reason for the delay in the distribution of National Identity Card? 13% voted for A, procedural hassles, 52% voted for B, slack employees, and 35% voted for C, deemed unnecessary. And here's today's question. What should be done to control inflation? Your options are A, enhance domestic produce, B, market monitoring, and C, support industrialists. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. It's time now for the international update. The combined death toll from Monday's devastating earthquake in Turkey and Syria has surpassed 33,000. According to Turkish Vice President Fuat Oktay, the earthquakes have killed 29,605 people in Turkey. Turkish Health Minister Fahrettin Koca previously said 80,278 people were injured. In Syria, 4,500 were killed, according to the government health department. Martin Griffiths, UN Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator, said the devastating earthquakes were the worst event to hit the region in a century, and he expected the overall death toll would be 2 times higher than current data. Griffiths called for attention to victims who are facing lack of food and shelters in earthquake-hit areas. The UN will launch an initiative to provide humanitarian aids to victims in the next 3 months. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus visited the quake-hit Aleppo city in northern Syria yesterday and brought 35 tons of relief aid to Aleppo. The WHO would continue transporting aids to Syria, and another batch of over 30 tons of goods would arrive on Sunday, said the Director General. A magnitude 7.7 earthquake struck Turkey's southern province of Kahramanmaraş at 17 minutes past 4 local time on Monday, followed by a magnitude 6.4 quake a few minutes later in the country's southern province of Gaziantep, and a magnitude 7.6 earthquake at 1:24 p.m. local time in Kahramanmaraş again. Meanwhile, officials in Turkey say 113 arrest warrants have been issued in connection with the construction of buildings that collapsed in Monday's earthquake. Turkish police have already taken at least 12 people into custody, including building contractors. Meanwhile, unrest in southern Turkey has disrupted rescue efforts in some places. More arrests are expected, but the action will be seen by many as an attempt to divert overall blame for the disaster. For years, experts warned that many new buildings in Turkey were unsafe due to endemic corruption and government policies. Those policies allowed so-called amnesties for contractors who swerved building regulations in order to encourage a construction boom, including in earthquake-prone regions. Thousands of buildings collapsed during the earthquake, raising questions about whether the natural disaster's impact was made worse by human failings. With elections looming, the president's future is on the line after spending 20 years in power. Welcome back. It's time now for the sports news.
Sports news.
Palesha Gordon had reached the semifinals in the Tokyo Paralympics and set a record for Nepal in the Olympics. Nepal's taekwondo player Srijana Gising's participation in the next Paralympics is almost certain, and the country expects her to bag a medal in the Games. However, neither has the Nepal's Taekwondo Association nor has any government entity paid any attention to providing her regular training or exposure. It has been 5 years since 23-year-old Srijana Gising from Makwanpur has been playing para-taekwondo. She had won a silver medal for the first time at the 2021 Asian Youth Para Games. Srijana created history by bagging the gold medal in the Grand Prix that was held in Saudi Arabia by defeating 3 top athletes. She also won a bronze medal at the President Cup Asia region. She has participated in 5 international tournaments in 5 years. Srijana is in the top 7 position of the world ranking in para taekwondo. Her participation at the Asian Games, which is taking place in Hangzhou, China this August, is almost certain. If a medal is expected from Srijana from the Asian Games, her practice and exposure are not enough. Medals are expected from Srijana and Palesha from the 2024 Paralympics. Players get the opportunity to improve on their world rankings by performing well at international competitions. Players at the top 6 world rankings directly qualify for the Olympics. However, the participation of Nepali players at international competitions is inconsistent. It's time now for the weather update. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.